So, until I find the save file, I can go ahead and explain a little bit. So, we're doing DDD New Game Plus, any percent, which basically means we start off the game with all kinds of Dream Eaters that we prepare earlier, before the run even starts. These Dream Eaters are those 4 Jello Pups we have right here, the Fruits Cat, Aura Lion, Rio Dragon, Pseudo Neku, and the 2 most important ones, the Magic Lapins right here. Too many save files? Oh, you don't even want to know how many I have. I have so many profiles with so many save files. And yeah, those are the Dream Eaters that we're going to roll with, which we can finally start now because I did find the save file. It will basically be a normal any percent run, just minus all the preparation, all the Dream Eater shenanigans, because we just have them now. We already have them readily available. And yeah, so if everything's alright, we could go on and start the timer.
Just give me a countdown.
Okay, so I should go for countdown, then we go?
Yep.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck, Desa.
Let's go. Okay, so we start off with the best thing ever, skipping 5 cutscenes. Oops. So something right away that is really weird about DDD is that cutscene skips suck. So we just hold down constantly and just mash the hell out of start and wait until the skip scene automatically scrolls down. So first thing we do is we fight Phantom Ursula, which usually the best pattern is if she just starts with grabbing you, but this seems fine as well. She can do this laser beam. The laser beam is not nice. We can cancel her attacks by dealing a certain amount of damage right there, and this will repeat the attack that she just used. So she will use the laser beam once again. Yep. But the fight in itself is not really complicated. On higher difficulties, you can die if you're not careful, or you can just lose a lot of time by her DMing, but on beginner you should never be able to see that. So I just used one term already, which is DMing. Bosses and some enemies even have something called DM, which is their desperation move. Whenever they hit a certain health threshold, which is usually somewhere the last third, enemies are able, or they can start using their super attack, their desperation move, which is usually just a super strong move, or a move that takes up, from a speedrunner's perspective, takes up way too much time. So 9 times out of 10 we try to skip it. I can't really think of any scenarios where we would want to go for the DM if we can skip it. Not yet. So something we have to do right before every single world is we have to do a dive section. Right now we go into the first world, Traverse Town, and we dive into that world with Sora. We're basically trying to visit 7 sleeping worlds and seal their keyholes. And that's why we kind of dive into the dream of the world, to have a little bit of lore in here. Each dive is ranked with A, B, or C. In this case, we try to go with an A rank every single time, as that allows us to get one of the strongest keyblades, and the strongest keyblade that we can access without going out of our way. If we don't get an A rank on every single dive, then we will not get that keyblade, which is not a big downside, but it's not nice. It's nice to have it. So, when did Desa get mega hot? Oh, dude, you missed something, Logic. So, right here, something we usually don't do is we actually watch the tutorial, because it's not good to watch the tutorial. It usually forces you to do something, but in this case, and later on as well, watching the tutorial allows us to skip the fight, which is faster than actually fighting the battle. So now, I said that we don't need to do anything with Dream Eaters, but most of the tutorials, while they're skipped in New Game Plus, still have to be done in New Game. Still have to be done for whatever reason. And one of them is creating a Dream Eater, Meow Wow in this case, and petting it a little bit. Just to basically show the player how Dream Eaters work. I don't know why it's still in New Game Plus, but it's not really too big of a deal. Can pet a little bit of the cute little Meow Wow. Has yellow eyes, so in new game, the eye color matters. depending on what difficulty and route you go with. But on New Game Plus, it doesn't matter because we will ditch Meow right away. Like as soon as we get the option to do so, Meow will leave the party. There we have to pet it 4 times, then we go into Ability Link, quickly unlock Link Critical, and that's pretty much it. That's all we have to do with Meow for the entirety of the run. One thing we're gonna do now is we're immediately gonna change the party as announced. We're gonna go with Fruits Cat, Aura Lion, and Rio Dragon. Because now we want to defeat a few enemies. We're basically already starting the grind by... Oh, I think we need to... Just for safety. We are already starting the grind by going after those enemies. Oops, that was not intended, but it works. Oh. Defeating enemies gives us something called link points for the Dream Eaters. And if we get 10 link points, which is what we're trying to do right now, we can access Super Glide from Rio Dragon. And getting Super Glide this early is quite useful, as Super Glide, as in many KH games, just lets you zoom across all the rooms. There's little Pablo in the background. So, something that's unlike every other KH game in the entire series is, except for BBS, is that we can play multiple characters. In this case, aside from Sora, we also play as Riku, and they both have about the same amount of time that you use them. So it's like a 50-50 split, I would say. We visit the same worlds, but not the exact same rooms, just like in Birth by Sleep. Which, I think if I remember correctly, there's still a run of that coming up later. I'm not sure if DJ already did this run, but he definitely planned on doing a showing off Aqua PSP run. Alright, you're right, Recom actually introduced it. I am not smart right now. Recom started with the character swapping, that you were able to play as Sora, as Riku as well. You're totally right, I forgot about that. Kingdom Hearts Star Dogs, oh god, that doesn't sound fun. Oops. Now yeah, we play as 2 different characters, and both of them are in a 50-50 split of how much playtime they both have. Sora has a little bit more at the start, but Riku finishes off the game later on, which we'll see. Now it's the second time that, or second and last time that we actually watched the tutorial, because we just want to skip the tutorial once again. Fake fan? No, I'm not a fake fan. What do you mean? Yeah, we just wait and skip the battle. Most new game runs nowadays actually do something in that battle, because you can access treasure chests that are scattered around that room, and one of them is a recipe for a pretty nice Dream Eater. Something that gets introduced now is the drop meter. You have 2 characters, both of which have to be done with specific parts of the game before you can continue to the next chunk. And you can force a drop between characters, but it can also happen randomly by you running out of time with the respective character. Oops, not right. And now I quickly unlocked Super Glide, so now we can zoom. Yep, now we have 3 otters. We actually have a 4th one in the party as well. But we're only allowed to have 3 Dream Eaters at the same time in the party. So, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna collect a few things. We're gonna go for... Oh wait, don't drop. Gonna go for this. Get rid of that enemy. Oops. I'm collecting a few safety things just to make sure that we have enough water barrels for the entire run. Though you definitely don't need to collect everything of what I'm picking up right here. This is just to make sure that I definitely have enough money. Now you see, Super Glide this early on is quite busted because you can speed through so many places so much easier. It makes movement a lot more brain dead actually, because in New Game, as you can imagine, with not having Super Glide, you actually have to flow motion everywhere. Like there's nothing that you can reach quickly without using flow motion. But in New Game Plus, due to having Super Glide, we just skip all of that and just fly through everything without thinking twice. Now we go here, we grab Balloon, which most of you know is a pretty busted spell in DDD. And then we enter this cutscene. Oops. We go over to the Moogle, we sell everything except our Balloon spell, which takes a little while, because we have lots of stuff. Oh, we also don't sell Fandara and Kyuraga and Balloon, there we go. Just talked about it. Sell the potions, the Dream Eater materials, every single thing, because we want water barrels. Water barrels are a toy that you can use with the Dream Eaters, and it allows you to collect something called link points. We already saw the link points in being used with Meow Wow, where we unlocked Link Critical. Right now we want 20 LP with every single jungle pop, so we can access Balloon Run, which is the most used spell in the entire run, by a mile. Now we have 20 with each of them. We unlock the bottom path, and if we mash L2 and R2 well enough, or if we time it, but the timing is really tough, so I just mash it, we can skip this little animation that you just saw. And then we go and access Balloon Run. Now the third one, oops. Okay, we got one of the 3 skips. There's one more skip that we can get. One more animation skip, but it's not really that big of a thing. But it's nice that I got to show it off in the first place. Now, what do we need next? We need Juggle Pop, Magic Lapin, and Magic Lapin. Because Magic Lapins, they need a lot of LP. Like, a lot. They need 280 LP. Which is quite ridiculous. And the Pseudo Neku also needs some LP, but it doesn't need as much as the Magic Lapins, which is why we go with them first. Oh, we got 2 animation skips. That's nice. And Pseudo Neku. We'll quickly swap the order a little bit. And now we're going to use a lot of water barrels. A lot of them. I'm thinking if I should just use all of them, but I think I'm just going to go with a bunch of them. That'll be enough. Which, on the 3DS version, which is where this game originated on, you had to play every single one of these water barrels. It's not a fun time, especially because I think it's like 10, 15 water barrels that you have to use in the 3D version. You will get more LP, but it's way less time efficient than just immediately skipping out of it. As you can see, you can get like 25 to 30 LP from one water barrel, but you can also get like 7. And it's the same on the 3DS version. You can get like anywhere from 15 to, I think, or not 15, but like anywhere from 30 to 70, which is quite a bit. Also, there's one downside. Because of me skipping all of these, it means that we won't get to hear the meme song. Actually, you know, I could play out one of the water barrels just to show the meme song. There we go. Let's go with it. Just so you guys can hear the glory of what is DDD and its music. It's beautiful. This is what you don't get to hear in a normal speedrun, but in the 3DS version you do. And yeah, this is what you would be doing on the 3DS version, like 10 or 15 times in a row. I do not envy the former 3DS runners. And I'm not surprised that the 3DS version is not ran anymore. Oh no! I messed up, but it's fine. There, you can get a lot of LP. I think I got like 58 on the left magic weapon, but the pseudo Neko only got 25. Which shows how inefficient it can be. Okay, I'm gonna check how much LP I have now. I should say, oh, okay, that magic weapon is way ahead of what it needs. Has a ton of OP. So what we're gonna unlock now is one, these magic boosts, which just increases our magic damage. And oh, okay, pseudo Neko still needs some. That's fine. So we are gonna unlock magic boosts, which are just gonna enhance our magic powers, our magic abilities. And what we're gonna do as well is we're gonna get magic haste. That speeds up the rate at which our magic commands recharge, which is crucial for the speedrun. And we're gonna spam those like no tomorrow. We need like 5 more LP for pseudo Neko, but I want to go 35 just to get the thunder boost to show how strong thunder can be as well. Because, believe it or not, Balloon is not the only overpowered spell in this game. There are quite a few, actually. This game is full of them. But Balloon Ra is the most readily accessible. It's very easy to access it, even if you're playing a new game. Okay, so Neko has more than enough LP, so we're just gonna go with the next 2 nodes, which is this one and this one. And now we're gonna equip everything. Balloon, balloon, oops, balloon, oh my god, balloon. And now Riku, balloon, oops. And he's also gonna equip Dark, oh wait, right. Dark Barrier. And now we're gonna go to the first boss after like 17 minutes or something. Which is Hokomonkey. He has a fairly decent amount of health. Where we're gonna just eradicate it with Balloon Rush. I'm not used to seeing this much damage because I've been running a lot of the higher difficulties, and higher difficulties have you deal way less damage than this. So this is Hokomonkey's DM. He usually doesn't use it. That's actually very unlucky, but it doesn't make a difference for us as he's gonna vanish anyway. That's the power of Balloon spells. So there's several things that make Balloon overpowered. One, you saw the recharge on the command is really fast. Even though it's a raw spell. But I think raw spells have a default recharge time of 12 seconds. Or was it 18? I think actually it's 18 seconds. And with Magic Haste, we cut that down by a lot. What Balloon does as well is it ignores the enemy's magic defense. So the only thing that matters is your offensive stat. Also, something I was able to get... Ooh, we have Overcast with Riku, nice. Something I was able to get there is a word map skip. It would usually showcase you all the words that you're going to visit next. But if you press start at a specific point, it just skips that part. And we got that right there. Okay. Got the party set up. We want Magic Lapin and one of the Magic Lapins and Pseudo Neko in the party. Because that way we can access a link that Sora can activate with Dream Eaters. Which that link is called Comet. You might know it from Cage 2 maybe, though it's a completely different thing here. Right here actually straight up fires a comet at the enemies. And with how damage works in this game, it pretty much one-shots most of the things that we fight with the setup we have. Due to our incredible magic stat, we can deal a lot of damage with the magic commands, and Comet goes with physical. But our stats are going to be quite good as well. Beginner also deals a ridiculous amount of damage. It deals 50% more damage than all the other difficulties, which is quite a bit. So now we're not gonna play with Dream Eaters ever again in this run, because that's the beauty of New Game Plus. You have to do it once at the beginning of the run, and then never again. I'm gonna touch the save point for later. In like 45 minutes from now, we'll need to access that again. And we're also gonna defeat those enemies, because that way we access level 3. You can see it increased strength, magic, and defense, but in DDD, your damage is not solely based off your magic stat or strength stat. It also based off the actual level you have. So if you have 50 magic, but are level 1, you're gonna deal less damage than if you have 50 magic, but you're level 20, for example, or even level 2. Which is a little bit weird in my opinion, that level is directly influencing the damage output. Well, that's DD for you. Okay, there is the Hoka Monkey number 2. You can see he is now in the lower area. He doesn't have his feet anymore. He's a ghost pretty much. I don't know. And that's because this guy... Oh my... Wow! Amazing. So this game swaps between characters, Sora and Riku of course, and the bosses do have continuity in between them. We defeated Hoka Monkey with Sora, which canonically he did break the glass, which he did in the fight as well, but canonically he does that as well. Even if you skip that fight, that part of the fight, which leads Hoka Monkey to being left without his feet and inside the garden for Riku to fight. The same thing will happen with other bosses as well. But first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start actually visiting the other worlds. In the next world, we have 3 worlds available now. The La Cité de Cloche, Prankster's Paradise, which is what we're gonna enter now, and the Grid. The Cité de Cloche is Hunchback, and I'm gonna call it Hunchback from here on out, but I just wanted to flex a little bit with nerd knowledge. Prankster's Paradise is gonna be the Pinocchio world, but I'm gonna keep calling it Prankster's Paradise as that's really fast. I could call it something else as well, but that'd be inappropriate. And we also have the Grid, which is the Tron world, or Space Paranoids in KH2. I'm just gonna keep calling it Grid or Space Paranoids. Like, I might be calling it both, I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. But I just mentioned it in case I accidentally dropped the name Space Paranoids instead. So... Again, each of these worlds has a dive that you have to complete, and they're usually pretty unique in terms of their goals. That was dumb. Pretty unique in terms of their goals. Most of them have you collect lots of prizes, and you have to meet a certain threshold. In this case, I think the threshold was like 500 or so. But some of them want you to beat a certain amount of enemies and whatnot. Okay, we're gonna talk to Geppetto. Skip this cutscene. And then we're gonna quickly go here, Skull Noise, and equip Ballooner. Because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do a tiny baby mini grind. And the higher in difficulty you go, from beginner to standard and proud and crit, you would be doing quite a big grind here, but because we are on beginner and our damage is quite busted, we're just gonna use the reality shift here once, collect all those enemies and pop the bubble. Now we're gonna try and collect them all once again, but one of the Jester bosses turned himself into a drop, so we need to kill this guy so that we are 38 EXP away from the next level up. That means in the next world we're gonna kill 1 enemy and get a level up. This reality shift is super good and super useful for grinding, really. It's super useful for grinding. And other difficulties, this reality shift is what makes the run not bad. Okay, so now we're gonna go to Hunchback. We just quickly entered Prankster's Paradise to get those few EXP, because you have to go there anyway. And it's a very, we have to enter, we have to pass this room, so we might as well grind a little bit. And we do it a little bit earlier just to get a level up. And this level up matters a lot, because this level that we're about to get will enhance the next fight by quite a bit. We'll be so much faster than normal. But now we have to go with something that I haven't talked about yet. 4 of the dives have bosses. 2 of Riku, 2 of Sora. This is the first boss, Queen Butterfly, that we have to fight with Riku. The next boss will be Brawler Mari, that we fight with Riku as well. But first, yeah, we have to get rid of Queen Butterfly. Queen Butterfly you can always beat in 1 cycle. This fight and the rematch that we are gonna have way later into the run. And Brawler Mari is always a 2 cycle. This, the fight that's coming up and the rematch that we have eventually. So there we go, we got A diver again, or gold diver, which is good. And now we're in Hunchback. Riku doesn't have access to Super Glide, which means we do have to actually use a lot of flow motion. Which makes New Game Plus not as stale as you might think. With Sora, yes, you do Super Glide everywhere, but it's a nice change of pace, because with Riku you still have to perform all those cool jumps and movements, which some of them are super tight. Like this dash that I just did there, it's not super or overly complicated, but it's not really brain dead either, because you do have to aim yourself pretty well. And as you saw, I just stopped because I didn't go far enough. That can happen as well and costs time. Now we defeat this enemy to get level 4, and then we head towards the door to a little chase sequence. And we're gonna have a first glance at the boss, or we just had the first glance. You might have seen it, you might have missed him. It's not that big of a deal. We're gonna see it him in a bit once I get like the 5 seconds that I need to defeat him. It's not actually 5 seconds, but it's not a long fight. None of the fights are really long in this category. No, there we go. There's the boss. So funnily enough, it's not always Sora who defeats the bosses first. In this case, it'll be... Oops. In this case, it's Riku who defeats the boss of this world first, so we still go by the canon or canonical order, which is that Riku goes to the Hunchback first, and Sora goes there later. I'm trying to think. There's like one other world where it kind of lines up as well. And while there is continuity between the bosses, some of them are just vastly different. For example, in the grid, both the bosses do not interfere with each other. But Sora's and Riku's boss. Okay, we gotta go to the navel again. It's only slightly faster to go to the wall behind you and bonk into it to get the flow motion off here. But it is still faster. Even if just by a little. So, now, Wargoyle. We're just gonna spam balloon. A common theme in this game, who would have thought. We do use the reality shift because that stuns him, and it just stops him from doing weird attacks that could cost a lot of time, as you might have imagined. But that was the fight. He can be a lot more obnoxious. There's an attack he can do where he envelops himself into darkness and charges at you, grabs you with his tail, and just dunks you into the church. In higher difficulties, that attack is actually kind of scary, because it can deal a lot of damage, but in beginner, it's just a waste of time, like most things that the enemies do. 420 donations. Ooh, nice! We need 69 cents for the perfect number. So, next word is gonna be the grid, or space paranoids. Yeah, we need a nice amount of cents, exactly. Or are we at that number and I just didn't see it? So this is another dive where we have to collect the prizes. But as you see, there's only one prize to collect, which wouldn't be hard if there would be any prizes on this dive. All of the prizes are replaced with HPOs, which this is, in my opinion, probably the best diving section. Just because the goal is so unique. You have to collect one prize, yes, just like with other dive sections, but there are no prizes. You don't know where they are. And you're like, okay, where are they? Unfortunately, it's just put right at the end, so you can't really miss it. But the idea behind it is very creative, in my opinion. They could have expanded on that. Is there information now? Ooh, I don't know. The Velocity Online stuff would have to tell you. Okay, so now we have something that you might know from KH2, which is the light cycle. In this game, it's a little bit more brain dead, because all we need to do is mash square and jump over the D-res rays that the enemies put up in front of us. You can go a lot faster with the change mode things, but I tried to time it a little bit. I'm not gonna do that, I'm just gonna mash. This goes on for like 2 minutes, where you just dash, which is... Oh, there we go, I got hit once. We have to do 2 full rounds around the arena. Thank you for the life of That is true. Nobody would want to destroy that number. But the music is at least good. That's one thing that a lot of people who hate on, like, DDD is not a lot of people like this game. I can see why. I personally like it a lot, which is also why I speedrun it. Aside from it being a KH game, which is why I want to speedrun it too. The music, for example, is one aspect that a lot of people miss out on, because the music in this game is pretty good. It's pretty unique, as lots of the themes used, they fit very well into the world, but they're way different from other KH games as well. Kind of like, quality-wise, in my opinion, is definitely a throwback to KH1, where the world themes are so well fit. Okay, we are, I think we're like 3/4 done with the light cycle now. I haven't done light cycle in a bit, so it's a little bit weird to get the dashes correctly. $1. No. Okay, so now we have Commandos. On beginner and standard, doesn't really matter how you fight her, but on proud and higher, you actually have to make sure that you get a certain glitch going in the fight, which is not necessarily on beginner just because you deal an absurd amount of damage already. Maybe if the fight takes too long I can show it off, but I doubt it. Especially because she's giving me the wrong pattern for that. But yeah, this once again is a showcase of the boss of this world, which I think is pretty cool. There's so many bosses in this game that are just getting shown, like, they just show off the boss of the respective worlds earlier. Ah, there we go, we got the glitch. So you can get stuck on her. Usually it would make her not attack at all, but because I didn't even think that it would work, she still got attack stuff. But the gist of it basically is that she starts just idling, and you just sit there with the D-Res beam inside her arms. Okay. 694 and 20 cents. I would say we should go for 69,420 cents. Oops. Yeah. So now we equip a Keyblade that's gonna be very important for a big part of the run. The Guardian Bell. It has an absurdly high magic stat, which is 10. Might not sound like a lot, but it is quite a bit. What we're gonna do here is we're gonna quickly access this chest, just so I don't forget later, which this one contains a Pandara. There we go. And now we're gonna go on a killing spree on all these Dream Eaters. Oops. So something you might have just noticed is I can cast my Balloon Ra, and if I get cancelled out of the animation, once the balloons spawn, they continue flying around by themselves without me having to launch them, which means it would be optimal if I would constantly get cancelled out of my Balloon Ras right after the balloons spawn, because that means I would get the highest amount of balloons on screen possible. It does happen here and there, but it's not really something you can base a fight off. You just have to hope that it happens a lot. There we go, got that. Okay. Two cutscenes, one flashback. Oh wait, one cutscene, I forgot. Now we go up here. And in this next room we have to defeat a few enemies, because you might have, maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. We are very close to level 6, and once we defeat those enemies, we're gonna be at level 6. Now, something we haven't done in the grid yet is we can dive into certain objects or enemies. Enemies only once we hit them enough times, but we can dive into objects and manipulate them. In this case, we auto-destroyed the gun, or used auto-destruction. We hacked it and made it just destroy itself, and now we unlock doors that will allow us to continue. It also unlocks a specific, hidden chest, but you can also access that chest from the other side, so I don't even know why that door exists, but it's there. And usually we use it to just destroy things that are on our path. Or, as in this case, open locked doors. Oops. A really weird thing about some of those cannons is that they have weird hitboxes where you can activate that reality shift, but usually you're safe if you dash or air slide into them. If you air slide towards them, it usually allows you to use the reality shift. A really weird property. I don't think it's intentional either. It just happens to be a thing. And now we drop down, and you might have... Oh wait, no, we haven't been with Sora, but you will see this room with Sora later as well. So some of the areas, while Sora and Riku have different stories in their respective worlds, they overlap. And they do in this case as well. You will see these rooms later with Sora as well. But right now we go for Riku's story, and we will actually finish the first cycle, is what we call it, of worlds with Riku before we even touch Sora's first cycle. Just because there's no reason to do Sora early, there's no benefit in it, but there's actually a benefit in finishing this cycle of Riku, or with any character. We could also finish the cycle of Sora, but finishing any first cycle allows us to buy incredibly strong commands of that respective character. Oops. Okay. And now, this is an area we don't visit with Sora. We're gonna go here, enter this room, and fight our boss, the Commandos. Next game, I don't know what the next game is, I don't have the string overlay open. This track is super nice. Oops. So what we have to do here is, Commandos has 3 phases, and after 1/3 of her health, she will go into a defense mode, where we have to cancel her out of with a reality shift that'll allow us to use Energy Jammer, whatever that means, but it'll bring her out of that defensive state, allowing us to continue the fight. Oops, wrong button. There. This track is not a Melody of Memories, you're right. Even though it is a really good track, I'm surprised. So that was actually a visual bug that I've never seen before. As you see, she's not in a defensive state, yet I was able to access the reality shift. That is super weird, I've never seen it before. Very nice. Which, the visual bug about this is that she didn't change her color. She was supposed to go all bluish. But interesting, nice! You love to see it. So this was the grid with Riku. And now, let's not have him for yeah. I love it. Now, the final world in Riku's first cycle that we already visited as well. Pranks' Paradise. Or Gangsta's Paradise, as a few people in my chat like to call it. This resembles very much Monster from KH1 in terms of music and just like the general layout. But we don't have 6 chambers that are built up like a labyrinth. Or like a maze, rather. Yeah, instead we just have a pretty linear path that we follow and flow motion through a little bit. Leading us to our next boss, which is Chalk-Closter. This boss does not appear with Sora either, just like Commandos doesn't. Recon Monster. Recon Monster was pretty interesting. That is a true maze because that whole game is built up like a maze. Aha. Okay, this is the best attack he can do because with this attack he just doesn't do anything. And we can just sit here and use the reality shift. Using the reality shift stuns him. And once we pop that reality shift, we can just finish the fight pretty much. Because he will not be able to do anything until I defeat him. There. I'm gonna use another reality shift just in case, but usually it's not necessary. There we go. That's the fight. If I wouldn't have used that reality shift, it could have went into a weird cycle where he starts zooming around the whole room, and you saw how big that room is. It will take a lot of time. The balloons do not travel far enough to hit him from one end to the other. I got champion free skip. Yes! Finally. So now we're gonna do something interesting. We're gonna... Give me a second. Oh yeah, right. So, we're gonna drop. I mixed it up with a different category, my bad. Usually you would go and buy stuff with Riku here. But because we... Just a second. Because we already have everything we need, it means that we don't need to buy anything. No, it's my bad. In new game, you would go for something called Bargain Flurry. And Bargain Flurry allows us to buy unique items in shops, as well as buy items for, I think, 20% off. Something I mentioned once, but haven't really touched upon yet, is Overcast. Oops. In Traverse Town 1 with Riku, we got Overcast. Overcast increases our magic damage output by 20%, so it doesn't matter what damage we deal, it'll just get amplified by 20%. Which, because we do use magic a lot in the run, all the time, it means we're gonna deal a lot more damage throughout the entire run, if we get it. Each world has its own weather active, and on beginner there are 5 different weather effects that you can have. On every difficulty outside of beginner there are 6. None of the weathers are malevolent, is that what you call it? None of them are bad on beginner, but Overcast is the only one that really is useful, as with Overcast we are able to deal a lot more damage. All the other ones don't really matter for us. So what we do now is we're quickly going to defeat the first wave of enemies. So the second wave spawns. And once the second wave spawns, we're going to use Comet. Oh, Desa3579 despawned. But there you saw Comet. Comet usually ends the fight. However, the Desa3579, for some reason, is just able to despawn. If you launch Comet, the Desa3579 decides to despawn. Maleficent. Maleficent! Maleficent. No. Maleficent. No. Wait, Melissa. No, I got trolled. Shit. Wait. I'm confused. Am I not? Wait. I'm not sure. I'm guys, you got me confused. Okay. Whatever. It's bad. That's what I wanted to say. Y'all know the word bad. I know the word bad. I know how to use it. Unlike... I don't know. Whatever. I'm not even gonna try. I'm not even gonna try. What we're gonna do instead is we're gonna go into the next battle, which is a pretty... battle. We have to defeat 3 big flowers. And we got hit right away. Amazing. We usually hit them once just to stagger them. And then we launch Balloon Rush to get rid of them. There are 3 of them scattered throughout the entire room. That was the first one. Oh god. The second one is up here. Like, we have to jump over this. It's not actually up here. It's down there. You're gonna bop it once and then launch Balloon Rush. I hope that dies. There we go. If you launch Balloon Rush inside of the enemy, these enemies just die immediately. If you don't get it inside of them, you will have to launch a second one 9 times out of 10. There we go. Nice. So, is there even enough time around to explain the fits into cage story timeline? There is, but I don't know how good of a job I'll be doing with that. Oops. So what we want to do is we want to super glide through the entire room, but I kind of messed it up a little bit. So we're going to jump a little bit and use some flow motion. But on new game, again, as mentioned before, you would use flow motion and you would just zoom through all these rooms. Though super glide is way easier to handle, and it is actually faster than flow motion as well, because you see that you don't have to do anything. You don't have to press square at specific times. You don't have to jump over obstacles. You just glide, making this a lot easier. Now a little cutscene that we cannot skip, which right now, story-wise, we got told that Quasimodo is searching for Esmeralda, I believe. I think that's what it was. And we go after Esmeralda as well. Which she is back here in the Court of Miracles. We're very close to it now. Find the secret passage and keep moving. Keep moving is something that they tell you a lot in DDD. It's really weird. It's like they don't even know what to tell you and they're like, okay, keep moving. Look, just continue. You'll see what happens. Later on, we'll see that as well. Like the final word, everything you get told in that word is keep going. Like, no, I'm gonna stop here. I'm not gonna play the game anymore. Now that you told me to move, I'm not gonna. That's how I feel about it. So this is Wargirl. We defeated him with Riku. He lost his wings. And now we have the land version of him. Ah. The first doggo is back. Yeah, and the Wargirl lost his wings. And the cutscene, you see him falling down, losing his wings, and then with Sora we defeat his land version, whatever you would call it. Fighter mode, I don't know. Okay, there are 4 cutscenes here, which is quite a lot. But we skip through them all. Now, next world is not going to be the grid, even though that one would make more sense as the battle level of the grid is lower than Prankster's Paradise. However, in Prankster's Paradise, we can grind. And this grind will help us a lot. A doggo and a person, that is correct. So this dive is very unique as well, because we have to just pop 150 balloons. That's all we have to do here. So it's exactly what we're gonna do. Just pop them all. Because we haven't seen enough balloons yet. We have to get like 900 prize points, which we'll rack them all up at the end of the dive. We're already very close to it, even though we're very close to meeting the goal. As you can see, we're at 122 balloons. But the majority of the points that we'll collect will be from this part, as there are lots of groups of balloons. Tons of them. We're gonna skip a cutscene, then skip a flashback, then skip a cutscene, then wait, and then skip another cutscene. There are lots of cutscenes in DDD, just like... I think there are more cutscenes than in KH2, but in total the cutscenes amass to a shorter amount of time, I want to say. Don't take me for granted on that, I'm not too sure. We're gonna equip the 2 Fandaros we collected earlier, and Guardian Bell, which is what we just got from the previous world, the Cité de Cloche, which is why we also went there first. And now, we're gonna go to a fight. This fight can be a little bit awkward, because these enemies can A, turn themselves into drops so you aren't able to hit them, and B, they can freeze you and inhale you. They can do lots of stuff, and pretty much everything they can do is obnoxious. This is where Fandara starts shining, by the way, because we have... Fandara just hits everything in range, and if you have like 6 enemies, you're obviously going to deal a lot of damage with that. On singular enemies, it's not as effective as you might imagine, but on multiple enemies, once you have like 3 or 4 enemies, it's super good. It's super efficient. Now we're going to get a Jester-Baki recipe that we're going to just close out of, because it doesn't matter at all to us. And then we're going to go up here. You can glide this rail up. It saves a little bit of time, but the problem is it's difficult, and if you fall down, you'll lose a lot of time. A lot of time, because you have to climb up again. Then we run off the tower and just continue gliding. And we continue gliding. We're gonna defeat a few enemies. Right here we're gonna defeat one of those penguins. Okay, I wanted to... Come on, thank you. Oh, we defeated 2 of them, that's fine too. Then we're gonna defeat those Prickle Mains. Gonna ignore all of these. And the next enemies we're gonna defeat are 2 Jestabakis and this Kuma Panda. Because they yield a lot of XP. Okay, he's being mean. But there, we got level 7. After the next fight, we want to hit level 8. So that way we're going to be able to get level 10 towards the end of the world. And level 10 will give us a big head start. Now the trampoline fight. On beginner, this fight is whatever. You can just go and finish it. You don't really lose a lot of time. But on anything that isn't beginner, this fight can be scary. Because these pandas deal a lot of damage and they hit you a lot. If you don't kill them quickly, they will kill you quickly. Which, on beginner, this music doesn't make any sense either. But once you play this on like Trout mode or critical, you're gonna realize why they picked this song. Something you saw, they can bounce on the platforms, which is what deals pretty big damage to you as well. You can use these platforms to bounce them up as well. However, if you bounce them up, for some reason they can be like, oh, by the way, I can do it too. So they cancel out of the stun animation and just bounce back and deal lots of damage and stun lock you. It's really unfair. And that's what makes this fight hard on standard and higher. But you really only start dying on proud and higher. Okay, now we're gonna continue a little bit further. We're gonna defeat these enemies again to get more EXP. I was meant to use Fandara, but I didn't realize it was on cooldown. Thank you. Now we're gonna continue. We're gonna go after the prickle mains again and hope that we're gonna be very close to level 9, because that's when we can leave this room. Thunder 117 should be enough, but just to make sure we're gonna defeat one penguin. But I think everything below 192 is fine. Level 9 is definitely enough, because we don't even need to be level 9 before leaving the room.
Would this be a good time for some donations?
Oh yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We have $20 from IMJV. He says, thank you to Velocity Online for putting together such an awesome event. Good luck with the run, Desa. Dream Drop Distance has always been one of my favorite games. We have $5 from Anonymous with no comment. And we have $4.20 from Usurpering, who just says, ooh.
Ooh. Nuts. So, after those Kuma Pandas, we need 598 or lower EXP left, so that we are able to get level 10 in that room. Otherwise, we'd be a few EXP off entering this room and we would have to fill it up right here. Now Thunder has done most of what it needs to do, and we're gonna swap it out for Balloonra. Or Balloon even, there. Go down. Actually, now that I think of it. No, you swap that out of Balloon. Something that's very bad for the player in DDD that gets fixed and recoded, or that got fixed and recoded and they messed it up in DDD again, is replacing commands. A single command recharges the entire day. Recoded, did it as where if you replace a command, only that command has to recharge, which makes a lot more sense in my opinion, and is a lot better for the player. But that's what they went with, so that's what we have to deal with. Now we have to defeat Chill Cluster. You saw Char Cluster earlier, but he's not linked to Chill Cluster. Chill Cluster and Char Cluster are completely different entities. Chill Cluster is a lot more annoying than Char Cluster. And there isn't really much we can do aside from spamming Balloonra, because this fight is kind of an auto-scroller. You have to wait until he starts flying up, and from that point on there's nothing you can do to speed it up. You can skip this entire attacking phase if you're very lucky, but the odds of that happening are ridiculously low. Though his health should be low enough now for him to... Yeah. This is his final move. And what we're gonna do now is defeat this block of ice so that we can unlock Monstro. As he was frozen in ice. And now we're gonna free him. Or set him free, use the bubble Blaster, I think, reality shift. And that's what we're gonna use to finish off the Chug Blaster while he tries to escape. Bubble Burst, that's what it was. He's gonna turn around and do 3 moves, but during the 3rd move we're gonna defeat him. He's gonna shoot those laser discs that he shot during the fight earlier as well. Though they're very easy to dodge. Really doesn't take a lot. I'm gonna go to the right. And now, the final move about to happen. I'm gonna swap one more time. Pop. And that's Prankster's Paradise for Sora. Now the last world, you might remember which one it was for Riku, is going to be the grid for Sora. And that boss differs from what Riku had to fight as well. You might even recognize the boss. Though before we go after the boss of that world, we have to defeat the dive boss here, which is Brawler Mari. That is Sora's first dive boss, and as mentioned before, we always two-cycle this guy by destroying the little pimples he has on his forehead. He's gonna do a few attacks, just like Queen Butterfly, though while Queen Butterfly's attack are semi-random and can take a little bit longer depending on what she does, Brawler Mari's are 100% consistent every single time you fight him. There, we broke the first one. And now we're gonna wait. And dodge a little bit. Flex on him that he can't do anything to us. And bop our head to the music. So there, he's gonna do a break again. We're gonna aerial break 2. Hit him, oops, wrong button. And then we're gonna destroy the pimple in his forehead. There we go. That's it, that's the fight.
Here we go. Yeah.
Hey, we ended on 119. What a surprise. Usually ended on 116, but we got 119. That's beautiful. So what we're gonna do now is, instead of using flow motion for this entire room, we're just gonna super glide. Who would have guessed? Because super gliding is fast. Oh, I hope that this is gonna be good. I really hope so. And again, in this room, instead of flow motioning, we just glide. A lot faster, a lot easier, and we don't have to think about it. Now here we're gonna do something weird, because there's some kind of auto aim going on when you dash in flow motion. It tries to go for pillars and poles, whether they're horizontally orientated or vertical. If they're close, the game tries to auto-lock you towards them, or auto-aim you towards them. So what we did there is we jumped on the railing to skip using that dash, so that way we don't have to deal with Sora fleeing himself on the pole and just spinning around at the speed of sound. Something you can do here is you can collect another Balloon Rock command, which is what we usually do, but upon an accidental, I once accidentally forgot to pick this up, so only had 5 Balloon Rock commands, and we realized, hey, that's all we need. So now we save 11 seconds by just skipping that one deliberately now. Yeah, lots of accidents lead to lots of reroutes. That's true for basically every single game. So this is the room that I was talking about. We already know this one from Riku, but now we have to exit with Sora, and it's gonna be a little bit different towards the end for Sora than for Riku. This part is completely identical. However, once we go up the elevator, while we appear in the same room, this orange lighted room, we're gonna be put into an arena and we're gonna fight Rinsler. which Rinsler is Tron. For those who don't know, Tron from, well, the movie Tron, but it's also the same Tron that fought with us in KH2 in Space Paranoids, and now we have to battle him because he got corrupted by the world's antagonist Clue. Though just like everyone else, we just spam a little bit of balloon and he's gonna be gone. Spoilers? What do you mean, spoilers? The music in this fight is really good as well. It's such a shame that we don't get to hear it. But this concludes the first cycle for Sora as well. We're gonna try and skip the world animation again by mashing start. No, we didn't get it. We would skip this little animation, this pan over. It's more for Tron Legacy. No, wait. Does that ever happen to Tron Legacy? It's been so long since I saw the movie. I don't even know. Well, congrats everyone. I ruined the movie. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna equip Balloon. And we're gonna swap Keyblades. Thank you. To Ferris Gear. Because that way we can use Comet effectively. And that's pretty much the only reason we want Ferris Gear. Tron Legacy, good movie. I haven't seen it in so long, I don't remember. Okay, we're gonna try and defeat 3 enemies so that the next wave spawns. Then we're gonna use Comet and end the fight. Easy peasy. The dog was watching me. The comments like Sephiroth's. Oh no, this one's stronger. Sephiroth's comment is nothing against this one. Usually you would just equip Kyoraga here because the next fight can be a little bit scary, even on beginner. But I'm too lazy, so I'm just gonna not do it and hope that I don't die. Let's see what happens. Oops. I'm gonna go to the first district, save for real quick, and then glide here. Phoenix riding Smash, ooh, that'd be nice. So I never played the game, I can imagine that being pretty funny. Something I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna swap out the magic lapins, because now they should be able to use... Oh wait, no, never mind, wait, we're gonna swap them back. I just realized that I was thinking incorrectly. Something we use those spirit magic lapins for is called Spirit Roar. Spirit Roar just enhances our... It's a buff that they can cast on us. And that buff gives us a 50% increase in damage output, no matter where that damage comes from, whether it be physical or magical. And it's very overpowered. However, Magic Lapin needs to be level 13 for it to use it. And both the Magic Lapins are level 11, for those who paid very close attention at the end of the last fight. So we still need to grind a little bit. Okay, there we go. We won't die. Now, this is a little boss rush. I haven't really been talking about it a lot because it's not that big of a deal in beginner. There's a boss rush now where this little guy here, the Spellican that we'll see later as well, summons 3 bosses that we fought with, 2 bosses that we fought with Sora and 1 that we fought with Riku, which is Char Clauster. No idea why this one has to be Char Clauster and not Chill Clauster, but I guess. And just like in most other fights, we just spam Balloon Rub. The scary part is the Wargoyle, because while he doesn't deal a lot of damage, he can deal a lot of hits. And even if you take like 1 or 2 damage per hit, if you have 20 or 30 of those going on, then you will have a bad time. So that's what we usually equip Kyoraga for. However, Magic Lapin can use Cure on us as well. Or Group Cure or something. It can heal us, which is what it actually did, making the fight a lot easier. Now we finish Traverse Town to Sora, but we cannot advance until Riku finishes the sword as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna swap characters again. Oh, Riku has Overcast again, wow. We also have something called Magic Gain. So after each drop, or each time you swap characters, you can give yourself drop bonuses. In this case, or in every single category, the drop bonus we want to go for is Magic Gain, because Magic Gain increases our damage output. I think by like 10% with each level. You can go up to level 3, we get level 2, so I think it's a 20% damage buff. We're gonna use the save point that we touched earlier to save a little bit of walking for us. It's not a lot, but it still saves time, so why not? And yeah, to be able to unlock magic gain for us, we need to collect a specific amount of droplets or drop points, which are those little, well, teardrop-like things, the droplets basically, that we see when we defeat enemies every now and then. Having 30 of those gives you access to magic gain level 1, 80 gives you magic gain level 2, and 200, which we never see in... Oh wait, he doesn't have Fandara, I was searching for Fandara. And 200, which we never see outside of critical mode, is for level 3. But it's not really needed. It's nice that we have it. Level 2 is obviously better than level 1, but level 1 is already here. This is a fight that's usually supposed to be a little bit harder. It's where we get a lot of levels of Riku. We saw we grinded with Sora, but this fight makes up all the EXP that we got with all that grind while playing as Sora. Just because those Sarah Terrors give a ton of EXP. I don't understand why it isn't a boss, but just a wave of enemies, but it's fine for us because it saves us the grind. As the grind basically happens just through forced fights. And now what we have to do after finishing the fight, which is pretty cool, the world doesn't end on the fight. We have to chase down Spelican. And this is where Sora fought Spelican. Oh, this is where Sora's gonna fight Spelican now, which we already did. So in terms of continuity, this happened before Sora did his stuff. And now the final warp map skip we can get. Let's see if I can get it. Nope. It would skip this pan over, but we would access Flick Rush, so we enter Traverse Town, leave it again, and it only saves like half a second or a second at best. So it's not even a big deal. But now we have 2 more worlds unlocked. Country of the Musketeers and Symphony of Sorcery. Symphony of Sorcery is the harder world of the 2, which is obviously where we're gonna go there first. Makes sense, right? No. With Riku, this world is pretty much a joke. It's a beautiful world, but the battle level does not matter for Riku's story. What we have to do, first of all, the battle level doesn't matter for the dive anyway. But what we have to do here is we have to finish the world without a single forced fight, just run through it, and after that we have a boss that doesn't rely on any level up. So it doesn't matter if you're level 1, it doesn't matter if you're level 100, you will always deal the exact same damage. Because you always just need 3 hits to finish the fight. You'll see what I mean once we get there. Until then I have to defeat 30 enemies in this diving section, which usually you'd use a Mega Flare for, but I accidentally missed it. So we have to use Laser Spin, which works as well. Because there are going to be a lot of enemies towards the end. Okay, and a little music note, a lot of the pieces, the end. And boom, another A rank. We still haven't gotten a single B rank, which is very good. Okay, we didn't get Overcast here. Usually, because of how this world works with Riku, Overcast does not matter here, and the game likes to troll you by just giving you Overcast anyway. To just be like, ha, got you good. And you're gonna be like, ah, yeah, real good. And for the rest of the game, you're never gonna see a single Overcast. The only Overcast you're ever gonna see is this one that doesn't matter. But we didn't get it, so the game at least didn't troll us. We already got 2 good Overcasts, which is nice. I messed up. You're allowed to mess up 2 notes, but I messed up 3 because I don't know how. There, the last 2 I messed up deliberately. I don't know how I messed up 3. But it's fine. Melody of Memory. Yeah, this is the true Melody of Memory. This is Melody of Memory 8 years ago, guys. This is where it all started. We're gonna grab this chest because it contains Zero Gravisa, a very important spell for mob fights. And then we're gonna continue. Get up here, play a little of Melody of Memories. On every difficulty outside of beginner, the buttons that you have to press are random. They're still random on beginner, but they're identical. So if you have to press triangle at the beginning, you will always have to press triangle. If you have to press square first, you will always have to press square. But on higher difficulties, it's entirely random. Oops. Now right here, we're gonna get an elixir. The only item we collect the entire run. Oops. Which allows us to use more comment, because elixir, outside of completely filling up your health, it also fills up your link gauge for the 2 dream eaters that you have out at this very moment, and it'll be very useful for later. However, not for Riku, because Riku's links, I'm not gonna show them off in this run, maybe later, but oh, we got Spirit Roll, by the way. Riku's links are not useful for 99% of the fights in every category. There's a single fight in the entire game where it's kind of useful, which is young Xehanort on level 1, but outside of that, it's completely useless. You can do a little trick with the links that Riku can use on the final boss, but I'm gonna talk about it later and hopefully not mess it up. There are gonna be a few opportunities to use it, but it's not even that useful. It's just a nice little, one could almost call it oversight, but it's nothing bad, or nothing that breaks the game. Oops. Nice balloon usage. So, as you see, each of these melodies, I used the last one now, and I haven't talked about it yet. Each of these memories continues to unlock the path. We have to do 4 in total. Okay, I don't know what I just did there, but whatever. You have to hit 4 of those with Riku, and then we're gonna go there. This note is what we went into this place for, and now we're gonna fight the boss. The boss where the battle level doesn't matter, or your level doesn't matter. Chernobog. It is a dive boss. I lied earlier, we actually have 5 dive bosses, because Chernobog is one as well. Though this one works a little bit differently. We have to hit him 3 times, and we're gonna get knocked back further and further with each hit that we deal to him. And getting hit once will knock us far, far away as well. We just have to dodge his attacks, hit him once to deal 1 bar of damage, hit him twice for another bar, and 3 times to finish him off. Nothing too special. We just have to make sure that we don't die from the ghosts, as they can drain your health. And of course we have to make sure that we don't get hit too much. Because if we get hit a lot, we're gonna get knocked away a lot. And getting knocked away is not nice because it loses time. And obviously it's fastest if you just keep using Diving Strike, not giving a damn about anything that's happening on screen. But sometimes you do have to use Dodging Reflect, which is the little reflect move right here, to dodge a few blows. It's still faster to use that than to get hit. You can distract the ghosts a little bit by baiting them into a certain direction and then just pivoting into the complete opposite direction. That way they don't hug you and don't drain your health. Now phase 3 is actually a lot different from phase 2 because the ghosts are stronger. The ghosts that started with phase 2. And the fireballs that he shot just now, they also get accompanied by fire pillars. And the other way around, the fire pillars are getting accompanied by fireballs, which makes them a lot harder to dodge. But there you go. That's Chernobog. Not quite difficult as a boss. And again, it doesn't matter what level you are, what difficulty you're on, it'll always take the exact same amount of time. This widescreen, by the way, was just a fade out, and I have no idea why it takes so long. It doesn't even load anything, it just takes ages. They just made it take years. And the reason we do this world early is because, again, it doesn't matter when we do it, and we get a Keyblade from there, called Counterpoint. That Keyblade is the 2nd strongest Keyblade we can access in any percent, and we get it every single time, which is good. Now we have Brawler Mari, Part 2. This fight is a little bit different. But again, just like earlier, we can 2-cycle them. I say can this time, not will, because 2-cycling this Brawler Mari is actually pretty hard. You have to be very precise with your hits, and kind of precise with your attacks as well. The first part doesn't matter. The forehead pimples are just like previously. We just hit him a few times, and then he'll fade away. However, And this is where these dive puzzles get interesting. Once you're fighting the second version of them, which in this case it's the second brawler Mari, they will have a second phase. This guy will turn around and show you some pimples. I don't know. Like, you'll have to destroy pimples on the back of his body that he'll reveal only every now and so often. They're not even visible right now. If you get hit right before they open up, he will not even show them, which means you will have to be careful about it. You have to be careful to not get hit. And this is where the 2-cycle gets difficult, because you either have to get a very, very, very early hit right here, or you have to get a very early hit in the second cycle. If you don't get a very early hit and don't mash like a maniac, you will not get the 2-cycle. Let's see if I get it. Okay, I missed this last hit, which means I might not get the 2-cycle. That also means I have to pause buffer in the second phase. It is faster if you only get 8 hits in the first phase than 9 hits, because getting 9 hits in will have him go into the second phase and have a little bit longer, a few more attacks than usual. But it's fine, it doesn't really matter a lot. If you do get 9 hits at the beginning, it just makes it a lot safer. So right here we're gonna pause buffer. Oh god, they're moving already. Good. That should be it. There we go, 2-cycle. So I remember back in the day, the very first time I played this game on the PS4. I played it on 3DS before, but on the PS4, the very first time I played it, I remember getting 2-cycle. And then I never got it again for years. Until I saw Sonic figuring out that you just have to pause buffer to get the 2-cycle, and it saves 45 seconds. It's quite big, because 45 seconds for free, I take that any day. Now we're gonna equip Fandara, Zero Gravisa, and I think that's it. Oh yeah, and 1 balloon command. And we're also gonna equip Counterpoint. Alright, something I forgot. So first of all, we're gonna equip High Jump, and we're also gonna set up Sora right away. He's gonna get Zero Gravisa, and the elixir that we collected earlier, as well as High Jump. And now we're gonna move. Preferably optimally, but I just messed up a little bit, but it's fine. We're gonna quickly do a shop here. We're gonna go to... We need 1,200 money, so that way we can buy Collision Magnet, as well as... Slow. Now something we're gonna do here is we're gonna go here, kill those enemies real quick, just to get a little bit of EXP, because this little fraction of EXP actually matters for us. We want to try and get level 15 with Riku. That way we will be able to deal a lot of damage later. It's something we actually don't do in later categories, because later categories just straight up grind. We're gonna use 2 Fandaras here. That way we get a lot of EXP. And boom. This EXP is now enough to get us to level 15 once we're about to finish the world. Okay, so now we have to defeat the Beagle Boys. There are 3 Beagle Boys hidden, and we have to reveal all of them. The first one is hidden on this platform that we have to reveal by spinning on a little pole. And we're gonna go about this by using Zero Gravisa here, placing a balloon down here, and then use Balloon Rod to defeat all the enemies, as well as damaging the Beagle Boys. You should be... okay, I was hoping that you would get hit, but he got hit very late. That's fine. This is the first Beagle Boy. The other 2 are in a different room. This is one of my favorite worlds in the game, just because it is super creative compared to lots of the other worlds, just like Symphony of Sorcery is. Now here is where the next Beagle Boy is gonna be. We'll go here to unlock the final Beagle Boy. Then take a little bit of a break while collecting them, and hope. Yep, they both got dragged in. That's good. So we'd want the final aura line to be in here as well, but if it's not here, that's fine too. There we go. We got the Beagle Boys. This should get us to level 15, but we're not going to see it until later. We're not gonna see level 15 until like the next menu, but we should be at level 15. That's all that matters. Now we're gonna fight Holy Moly, which is a mole creating lots of holes. That's why Holy Moly. Haha. We first have to wait until he's revealed. And then we're gonna... Wait, what? Okay, he usually doesn't do that. He can disappear like that, but he usually doesn't do that. You can DM skip this guy. It's very hard, because you need to basically cancel his attacks, and I kind of messed it up already. If he wouldn't have stunned me there, I would have been able to get a chance at DM skipping him. But he stunned me right before I was able to cancel him. That's fine. The DM is just him putting up lots of hands. He's raising them hands. And we just have to wait here for 40 seconds. If you mash L3, by the way, the spirits will constantly return to you. Which is why I'm doing that. Just so that they don't get damaged. If your spirits get damaged, their affinity lowers. And with a lower affinity, they're less likely to use buffs on you. Which we do want those buffs that they can use, and we especially want them for endgame. Which is why I'm just gonna save them from any harm. And boom, Holy Moly's done. Wanted to point the dog into the camera, but it's fine. He doesn't want to. It's fine. Oops. Skipping the cutscene. Now that we're done with Riku's second cycle, we're gonna go with Sora's sixth cycle. Ah, there we go. Hello, Pablo. Oh, if you just understand that he's on the internet now. Famous little doggo. Now, we didn't get any magic game with Sora, which is why we're not gonna go for any of them. We don't have enough droplets. But we're gonna go with the next world right away, which is gonna be Country of the Musketeers for Sora. So, once again, a diving section. Though we don't have a boss right here, we only have to rack up a few points. Not really unique, though you might hear it already. This dive has an interesting collection of sounds that we go with. Obviously getting hit during this is slow as well, but sometimes it's a little bit hard to not get hit, as some of the enemies can put you into very odd positions. And especially if you try to go for optimal dives, which means you don't use multiple hits but only the first hit of the diving strike, it can also lead into awkward situations, but it's fine. We got through it. Oh my god, that I didn't want to get hit by, but it's fine. I hope I still am fast enough for a gold diver, but it should be. Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah, easy. So, something we're gonna do now is we're. Oh wait, I forgot. Oh, I forgot the Keyblade. That's not good. This comet should be killing everyone, but I forgot the Keyblade switch, so it's not gonna actually kill everyone, which is actually kind of bad. That's fine. We're gonna make it work. I'm gonna quickly use an elixir so I don't have to do it later. So these guys were all supposed to be dead by now. However, I messed up a little bit. So we're just gonna manually defeat them. I'm gonna swap the Keyblade now, so it's fine. I was supposed to equip a Keyblade called Knockout Punch that we didn't get to see with Riku, as he gets counterpoint before Knockout Punch gets useful. But we're gonna equip it now, and it's fine. It has the same magic stat as Guardian Bell has. However, it has 5 more strength, making stuff like Comet a lot more useful. Something we have to do now is we have to reenact the movie Jurassic Park, more or less. There's gonna be a gigantic dinosaur chasing us, and we're just gonna pop balloons. Usually that attack hits you. I don't know how we whipped with that. Doesn't usually happen a lot. I've seen it before though on like the other visual glitch. And it's just pressing triangle a lot. This fight is really brained. You don't really have to dodge even or anything. You just match triangle and hope that you don't get hit a lot. The balloon was in Jurassic Park. Yeah, mine too. It's amazing. where they were riding away from the gigantic T-Rex, and some guy was standing on the back of the truck just saying, take this, and popping thousands of balloons. We're gonna change our gear a little bit. We're gonna go slow. We're gonna go Fandara, and Balloon. Because this will be a setup we use for the rest of this world. This world is a little bit unique with the fights, and that's in a sense that Balloonra is not the best option here. Believe it or not, Balloonra is not the best option in this world once you beat the dinosaur. I'm gonna climb this tower, and we're gonna beat the Beagle Boys, just like we did with Riku. However, unlike with Riku, we don't have to reveal them all. They're all up here waiting in the tower for us. Waiting to get humiliated by balloons. Not really, because we're gonna use Fandara a lot. But those enemies can be attracted by Zero Gravisa, which is very useful for us. Also, Spirit Roar is very useful. Spirit Roar, as said before, enhances your damage by 50%. No matter what you do, you get a 50% damage buff. And Spirit Roar just increases the damage of my Fandaras, and that just annihilates them. From this point on, we're gonna hopefully see a lot more Spirit Roars, because as you can see, Spirit Roar is quite useful, which is one of the main reasons why New Game Plus is this fast, or why it has this much potential. Just because we have access to this. New game categories have access to it as well, but it's way less reliable than it is in New Game Plus. Because the Dream Eaters we use for that are not as useful. I want to say my XP is more than fine. I was only supposed to have like 1000 left, and I think the only thing I was supposed to kill was the dinosaur, but I like to go for the crowd of enemies that I just defeated just to be safe. Sometimes to kill the dinosaur is still not good and well enough on EXP. By the way, next fight we're gonna fight like 8 Zolophants in a second. Wait. There, it's done. Fight's over. This again is the power of Comet. It's just unbelievably strong, especially with the damage multiplier you have in beginner. It just shows the balance of this game, and that not only Balloon is overpowered, but lots of other things in this game as well that get overlooked. Faraga Burst, very good candidate. It's a very strong spell that we don't use outside of Proud New Game Plus and higher. But it is very, very good. Now we're gonna go to the Opera and finish this world up. There's not a lot we have to do now. We just glide into the Opera and go defeat the Beagle Boys once again. However, along with the Beagle Boys, we also will have to go and defeat Pete. Pete is the reason we equip Balloon for this section, because Balloon is able to stunlock Pete, and that way we are able to prevent him from DMing, which is pretty crucial, as his DM can waste a lot of time. We're also going to remove Pseudoneko for the rest of the game now, because he does not have Spirit Rock, and we don't need Comet anymore. So Pseudoneko is done with his part. There we go, Spirit Rock. Oh my god, I'm getting cancelled. Now we're gonna just launch them all into Pete by using the reality shift that we haven't seen yet. This is the first time we actually have to use them, and the only time. It's sometimes very hard to get this reality shift properly. I don't know why, but it's just weirdly accurate how... Yeah, it's weird how accurate you have to be with your sticks. On the 3DS you were just drawing things on the touchpad, which you could do here as well, but they decided against it for some reason. Whatever that reason may be. Now this is also why we equipped Slow, because of Slow we can buy ourselves a lot of time for him to not get close to DMing. And we have to set up the balloons so that in case he does want to DM, he will have to run past them, and these balloons can always stun him. The further he goes to this side, the better, because for the DM he has to be on the complete opposite side of the room. So where he is perfect for us. There we go. We got him. DM skip, very nice. Bonk. That was Pete. One of the more technical fights in this run, because you have to make sure that he doesn't DM to not lose 20 seconds. However, in this case, he gave it to me for free because he didn't even try to DM. You know that he tries to DM if he tries to run to the side that he wasn't on. He just charges. He just goes head first for that side of the room, and he will continue to charge once he starts doing that. 9 times out of 10, he will just not stop. It's actually what always happens. You have to finish this fight, just like they have to finish the Beagle Boys with the reality shift. You cannot finish it without the reality shift. But yeah, he gave me a freebie by not even trying to DM. Now we're gonna go to Symphony of Sorcery with Sora. Which, the dive is pretty similar to Riku's. Just racking up a lot of points and that's it. Nothing special. However, the world in itself is a lot different with Sora than with Riku. Especially the boss. Because now the battle level actually matters, which is why I went to Country of the Musketeers first to get some level ups. The 900 point requirement is not hard though. It's pretty easy to get that. How to hit it, rather. By the way, you also saw that I defeated some of the flowers. You cannot hit all of them. Some of them are just solid, others are targets. It's weird. You just know which ones they are and which ones aren't because depends on how they look. You can tell whether they are breakable or not. So this is a world where Overcast actually matters quite a lot because the boss is super bad without it, but it's not too bad if you don't have it. Now we equip Collision Magnet, Zero Graviga, Kiraga, and oh god, tons of Balloon Rust. Because now we don't need Balloon anymore. And we're also gonna equip the Keyblade we just got, all for one. It's not as good as Counterpoint, so we're gonna use Counterpoint after this if we don't get Dive Wing, the strongest Keyblade we can access. Though it's looking good right now. All for One is stronger than Knockout Punch, but weaker than Counterpoint, which is also why we went for Country of the Musketeers first. However, Riku doesn't have to go to Country of the Musketeers as he can just finish Symphony of Sorcery right away. Kingdom Hearts indeed. How are you doing, Thor? Now we're going here, down this slide. Jump on this cloud and just glide towards the next. Just like with Riku, those melody catchers, the Melody of Memory betas, change how the world works and how the world looks. We open up paths, we change elements and like complete elements. We do lots of stuff with them. The first room we just change up the clouds a little bit. This is where the elements come into play. There's one reality shift in this room that we access right here. And that one will change how the wind flows. Because right here we have an upstream of wind going on. However, doing this reality shift will just completely settle the wind down. It'll not do anything anymore. And we can access the next path. Because with this current that we have, you cannot access the hole over there. Oh, we got Spirit Roar. Wow, that's useless. We're gonna use it later, hopefully. But Spirit Roar is just a random buff that the magic lapins can cast in you. It doesn't even have to be in a... Like, it has to be in a battle, but it doesn't have to be a boss fight. Or a battle that you fight. You just have to pass a battle and you can get Spirit Roar. Those are the meme Spirit Roars. The ones that you cannot use. Now this one has a rainy weather going on, this room. And with 2 reality shifts that we have to do here, we change the weather in each half of the room. There we go, it's all sunny and cloudy and bright and yee! Everything's happy now. Everything's bright and colorful. However, over there, on the other side of this mountain, boom, it's rainy and cloudy again. So we have to fix that as well. All this rain causes a stream of water where we need to go that we cannot pass. Similar to how Riku had to use the reality shifts in the final snow room, there were gusts of wind that were not allowing you to pass through to the next section. In this case, it's streams of water that just block off the path. Now we reached the sound idea that we had to collect with Riku as well. And we're gonna go fight the boss. We already saw the boss. Some of you who don't know the game can go and try and guess who it is. Though we'll see it in like 2 seconds. It's Pelican, who we saw in TT2 already, in Traverse Town 2. And Pelican is quite the obnoxious boss fight. Not just the boss rush is obnoxious, he is obnoxious by himself. In the first part, we just have to dash continuously, dodge whatever he spawns, either those purple balls or a gigantic rock. The rock is better because you don't have to awkwardly dodge them and can just continue. And as long as you don't get hit, it's fine. Now we hit him, so now the second phase starts. We will jump down here, hope that he doesn't disappear, and use Zero Graviga and Collision Magnet to stun him. This is where we want lots of Spirit Draws, because this guy has a lot of health. Okay, he despawned. Okay, this is a fine position. He can despawn and be so far away from us. But he's being nice right now. I'm gonna use Collision Magnet so he doesn't disappear, because I have Spirit Draw right now and I'd like to use it once or twice. Okay, we use it once. That's fine too. Collision Man can actually drag him out of this teleport animation, which is why you would want to try and not waste it. But I had to use it there to be able to use a Spirit Draw Balloon Drop. Now he's probably going to teleport, and I'm just going to grab him out of it with Collision Magnet. Oh wow, nice thunder. So he spawned a few brooms. If he spawns too many brooms, he will despawn himself. However, I just hope that he won't get the chance to do so. There we go. There we go. So that was the second cycle of World of Sora. I almost said Riku. And now we're gonna go and enter the final world. Not the final world from K3, but the final world of this game. Which is the world that never was. Most of you probably know that world. And the world that never was. It's interesting. You dive into it like into any other world. However, it starts in a very weird way. You'll see it once I'm in the world itself. Once I'm inside of the world, you'll see what I mean. So first thing we have to do is we have to fight Queen Buzzerfly again. However, she is a lot more aggressive, a lot faster. Though one cycle is still possible. Okay, we got this part. Now we have to destroy the forehead pimple, which has a lot less health, and then we have to destroy 3 pimples on our back. This is where the fight starts getting bad, because the hitboxes for these pimples are super weird and awkward, and they don't really make a lot of sense. However, Vilo, a really good DDD runner, and I thought of a way of how to potentially hit them more consistently, but as you see, it still doesn't work 100% of the time, so... most of the time you'll just get a 2 cycle, which is totally fine. It's basically to be expected. A 1 cycle is what you should be happy about. Unlike Brawler Mario 2, where 2 cycles should be consistent by now. If you don't get it, it's always your own fault on Brawler, or almost always your fault on Brawler Mario, unlike on Queen Buzzerfly, where hitboxes can just be garbage. Can't wait for Short Collection. Oh, you know it.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go.
Now, the word that never was. We got A rank on every single dive, so we're going to be able to access Dive Wing, the strongest Keyblade that we can access in any percent overall, with Sora and with Riku. We got it with Sora, we should be able to get it with Riku as well. We're not going to go with anything of those, but we should be fine now. So, as you noticed, I dropped right after entering the world. Because canonically, Sora enters the world and gets put to sleep again. So he falls asleep, and drops right away to Riku again. You can drop manually now and continue with Sora, but it doesn't really make sense for us. So we're just gonna continue with Riku. Yep. Now Riku has to rack up 1,300 points here, which is quite a lot, but it's doable, as you see. Not really the hardest thing to do. However, this should be a good one. We should have A rank as well now. Yep, and we got that one. Very nice. Now, let's hope that we get Overcast. We don't need Overcast, but it'd be very nice to have. Wait, what am I doing? I don't... Okay, sorry, I was in new game muscle memory for a second and went to the Moogle shop. On every new game category you go and buy stuff there, but on New Game Plus you don't. That was my bad. Now here we have to slide through a few we have to slide through a few objects or chains, which you have 3 hits to do so. It's not hard, but you can mess it up. I did mess it up before, and I did lose a lot of time to that. I didn't lose any records yet to it, but it hasn't happened a lot yet. Borg, yep. They probably heard something. Oh, like the dog probably heard something. Not sure what it was, so I thought he was asleep. Was it loud on stream, or like did it blow out anyone's ears, or was it fine? I hope no one's ears are broken. Good. Okay, very nice. It is set up very well. So I'm not even streaming from my own place right here. I'm at a friend's place, and the setup is pretty good. I like it a lot. They heard Overcast and they got excited. Oh, they did. They know. They know. They're like, Overcast, wait, where? Where's Overcast? Now we're gonna try and get it for the next fights. If we don't get it, it doesn't really matter. It loses us a little bit of time, but Overcast doesn't really matter all that much, and especially in a marathon run. If you're going for a PB, it matters, because Overcast does help with damage output a lot. But if you don't have it, it doesn't matter either. We can drop a little bit and see if we can get it. I can try and show off the beauty that is Overcast. It can be very annoying to grind for Overcast. Lots of runs can die here. Outside of beginner, it doesn't even matter if you have it or not, because you grind to have the appropriate damage. But this is basically the last point where your runs die to RNG. If they don't die here, it's usually the player's fault. I'm not gonna grind for too long. I'm gonna try for like a minute or two. If we don't get it, then we don't get it. But if we do get it, you can see how fast those fights can go. Dogs can sense Overcast. Oh, hey, I'm pretty sure they can. That dog sure can. Probably barking because Overcast will not be here. They were complaining about it. So we only need it for Riku, really. It doesn't really matter if we have it for Sora or not. It's nice if you have it. It allows a DM for a DM skip on his boss fight, but DM skip is very inconsistent anyway. I'm not gonna try for much longer again, because it doesn't really save all that much time. It'd be nice to show it off. Oh, there we go. We got Overcast for Riku. Nice. So now we're gonna finish Sora's world. On Sora's side. So that we can use Overcast for the rest of the run. Hey, we got another meme roll. Okay. Whee! So this world is... You don't have to do a lot here outside of the final fights of the respective character. Which Sora has 1 fight. Riku has 1, 2, 3, 5 fights in this world. You can guess who of those 2 is the more important character? The one with 1 single fight at the end of his world? Or the other guy who has a gauntlet, who has 2 gauntlets of 3 and 2 fights each? Which one is more important? I don't know. I'd need to watch the cutscenes for that. Haha. Okay, there we go up here. The reality shift here, it's the same as with Riku, but the chains look different and the segments look different. Also, Sora wields the yellow Keyblade and Riku the blue Keyblade, or bluish. Riku always slices through those little orbs that untangle the path in front of you, or reveal the path in the maze that you're in, or just destroy walls as you saw before. With Sora, you slice through buildings, which is pretty epic. And just slicing through. Just casually slicing through buildings. It's Carrie. Yes, exactly. Carrie's the important character here. You got it all right. It was a trick question. And usually on new game categories, again, you would use lots of flow motion. That is not super easy to do here, to traverse through this entire room, but we have Super Glide, so we're just gonna make use of that. With new game, you actually have Super Glide as well, but that uses a glitch that is not used in New Game Plus. It's called the Dream Eater creation glitch, where you can create any Dream Eater you want out of the recipe from Meow, or whatever your last recipe is. So Meow or the last recipe you have in your list, which is pretty nice. It's a pretty nice bug. I don't know who found it. It wasn't a speedrunner, that much I know. That was not good. But it's a very useful glitch for new game categories. You see, we're on beginner, but we take a massive amount of damage. And now we fight Xemnas, which his song is amazing. You see, we don't deal that much damage. That's because we A, don't have Overcast, and B, we are waiting for Spirit Draws from the Magic Lapins. Let's see when and if it happens. This is easily one of my favorite songs of DDD, but not my favorite. There's one song, a fan favorite, that I like a lot more, and I think I'm not the only one. The attack that he just tried to launch, where he starts circling around you and preparing lots of lasers, it's actually a one-shot, even on beginner. If it hits you fully, you die. You just fade away. It kills you from full health, which is quite crazy. And this would have been the DM skip if I would have gotten more balloon draws in. We can zoom in and see what the Magic Lapins are doing. Let's actually do it like that. Yeah. Charge! While Xemnas is just throwing buildings at us. Charge! Also watch your health closely. You know what? Let's do this. Usually in the speedrun you don't do this, but why not? Why not? In the speedrun it's actually, like, it's faster to skip this part, but it opens up a pretty interesting field where you would flow motion over to Xemnas and he's just stunned over there. He's just chilling. And you can just use lots and lots of attacks on him while he's chilling here. Yeah, and then he transforms him back. Okay, so this is where the fight can get scary, as you see. I was very close to dying, and then I would have lost a lot of time. That would have not been nice. Which is why, from this point on, you kind of need to have a little bit of game knowledge and know a little bit of what your enemies can do. But 9 times out of 10, it's fine if you just spam Balloon and just end the fight like that. This was Sora's part. We're done with him now. He's gonna get removed from the rest of the game. We won't be able to play him anymore. And the rest of the game is done as Riku, which is why we're grinding for Overcast, because with Overcast, the way we set it up now is all those 5 fights that are coming up now, we'll have Overcast with Riku. Usually, you would finish Riku's fights, then you would finish Sora's fights, and then you would go back to Riku's fights. But if you just do them all at once, you will keep your weather, which is very nice. Yeah, Sora just got deleted. It's recoded all over again. Oh, there we go. There's one pattern that Riku has that we just saw that you can slice instantly with one swing. And that pattern is the best one you can get. It's random which one you get, it's never consistent. But if you get that pattern, as you saw, you can very quickly get rid of the chains and just continue moving. Now we got 2 of them. It's very likely to get in this room for some reason, but it's not consistent once again. Then we got 2 of them now, which is pretty good. Pretty good. In total, we're gonna have 6 reality shifts of Riku. We already had 3 of them. No, 7. We already had 4 of them. The first 2 were before we dropped. 2 of them we just had. Now it's gonna be another one. Then there are gonna be 2 more in battle. There we go. That's one of the slower patterns. It's still not slow, but it's slower than the optimal pattern. But, and this is what the room actually looks like. Though those orbs somehow tangled it all up. And I know how it works, Kingdom Hearts magic or something. But that's how it is. Now there are gonna be lots of enemies again, we're just gonna ignore them, as always. I'm gonna zoom through this room. The only downside of not having Sora now is we don't have Super Glide, so we're gonna have to use lots of flow motion. But flow motion is not much nicer to use than Super Glide anyway. It's a lot more fun. While it's slower, it's a lot more fun. So this section has a bug. Sometimes if you auto jump off of those tubes, Riku can get stuck on them. It looks really weird and wonky, but if you manually jump off of those tubes, it shouldn't really occur at all. This jump was kind of a blind jump, where I just have to aim myself properly so I can hit the tube. It's not really hard, that blind jump. It's very lenient as well, but it's better than dropping and having the camera pan down, because if the camera pans, it means you slow down. Now you see why Overcast matters so much. We deal much less damage if we wouldn't have it. This fight is actually super scary, because he has one move that can put you to 1 HP and stuns you for like 4 or 5 seconds, which during those 4 or 5 seconds you have to hope that he doesn't hit you. It's pretty unfair. Hopefully we don't get to see that move. But if we do, I should be able to dodge it if I just double fly it constantly. There was a different move. There we go. That's ABC. This guy's called Anti-Black Coat, by the way. Just in case anyone was interested in what this guy was called. It's Anti-Black Coat Nightmare. ABC for short. The alphabet of doom. And yeah, this is like the only fight on beginner that is actually scary. Because if you aren't playing careful, he can, if he wants to, he can just end the fight. He can end it at any point. Making it super weird. Also, for some reason, there was no sound. Now, in this fight, you can use a reality shift. You see, we don't have Dream Eaters. That's because there's no ground, and the Dream Eaters are, well, gone right now. Ansem made them disappear. But you don't have to reveal them. You can finish the fight without unlocking and without using the reality shift, and it's a lot faster as well. I think it saves like 8 or 9 seconds optimally if you skip it, but you won't have Spirit Rod. The animation is just so long that it's not worth it. That was Ansem 1. Now the second fight begins. The second fight is a little bit harder, a little bit more tight, but we're actually going to use a reality shift there to skip his DM. It's possible on every single difficulty, but only on beginner the DM skip is consistent. Because for some reason we're set up perfectly to defeat him just before the DM starts. It's like the game was made to be run on beginner. Okay, the punch is a good move, because it's slow on his end. And we can just guard it. And we got Spirit Roar, nice. Now he's gonna... Oh, okay, he canceled my balloon, nice. There, now we're gonna use reality shift. Up, up, up. And now we're gonna have a DM skip for us. We're just gonna mash triangle for the rest of the fight. We even got Spirit Roars, that's nice. But even without Spirit Roars, we are perfectly set up so that we can skip his DM. Once you can reality shift him, you can just use it right away. And without Spirit Roars, you'd have like 1 or 2 Balloon Roars of leeway that you can cast to skip the DM in case you get cancelled or something. Okay. And now we only have 2 more fights left. Those 2 being Young Master Xehanort and the Armored Ventus Nightmare. The final 2 fights, no matter... So, the 3 fights that we just saw and the Xemnas fight with Sora, they are linked together. You cannot continue if you finish all 4 of these fights. Which, if you are missing any of those fights, you will not be able to fight this guy and the one that after. But this one is what people call a true final boss, as he is the most interesting fight in the entire game. Also, we got Bunny Slap RNG. He teleported behind me and the Magic Weapon just slapped him right away. Which is something you can only do in New Game Plus, because you don't have Magic Weapons in New Game. He is not doing anything, that's pretty nice. He can be very scary, even on beginning he can be annoying. But right now he just gets slapped around by balloons and by Magic Weapons. Nice. Good fight. Good first phase of the fight. The fight actually continues now. It transforms into a clock, because time is Young Master Xehanort's gimmick. And now we do 1 slice, 2 slice, 3 slice. I actually lost a minute in one of my record runs. I think it was actually this category. Because I messed up this reality shift. I was just too nervous. Even though it's super easy, I somehow messed it up. Now, we have to defeat the clock, because that one has HP as well. Oh, okay, I know what I forgot. I forgot to get error recovery, because error recovery is actually very useful here. He's gonna do various attacks. At the beginning, he's just gonna charge at us, smack us with his twin blades. And then he's gonna either launch Axes or Fire Tornadoes. In this case, he's gonna launch Axes. You know by the beginning of the first phase, once the first clone comes out of the clock, you know what the rest of the fight's gonna look like. Because if he goes... The minute handle kind of dictates it. If he starts attacking, once the minute handle reaches the 2, he will go for the Fire Pillar pattern. If the minute handle reaches 1, he will go for the X pattern. So now we're about to finish the run. It's like 2 or 3 more... It's like 2.5 more minutes. 2 if we're fast. And we have to do something that gets rehashed later on in the series, which is Sora Collection. We have to attack 30 Soras. Not 111, but 30. This section is very easy, and it's actually 100% consistent where all these Soras are gonna be. There are obviously way more than 30 Soras available here, but it's consistent where all of these are, so in theory you should never be able to mess this up. I'm saying in theory because even the the best runners ever, if they're sleep deprived or whatever, they could mess this up. And if you mess it up, this ring over there, just like in the diving sections, is gonna be dark, and you're gonna repeat this section. And this could be sub 2, it should be sub 2 actually, like 159.30 something. Okay, you can cancel this part, but I messed it up. If you link right here and then unlink again, your Dream Eaters stay, but usually in the white room, your Dream Eaters disappear. If you link just before the white room happens, they get carried over into this. So Armored Winter's Nightmare has two phases, the Dark Room and the White Room. White Room steals the Dream Eaters, but his defense is normal. In the Dark Room he has increased magic resistance, not defense, but resistance, making him take a lot less damage. And of course in the White Room, while he does take normal damage, you cannot get any Spirit Draws. So it's kind of a toss-up which one is better. The Black Room is better if you actually get Spirit Draws, which I'm not right now. But the White Room is better once you have a Spirit Draw and just for consistency in general. Also, he's a lot more aggressive in the White Room and you can actually lose if you fight. Which, again, you just have to know how he works for that. You have to know the battle. I need to stagger him one more time, then he will transform. I need to get one hit in. There we go. Now he's gonna transform the room. This might not be so too. I think it's gonna be like a 2 or 4 or so. Now the final part on JP. You don't have to wait here for some reason, but on English you have. And for the timer people, probably time comes up once the final hit happens, which is right now. Time. Nice. That was a good run. Decent. 2 hours and 10 minutes for RNG heavy run is not bad.
2 hours 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Not 10
I
minutes.
showed New Game Plus, and I never talked about it at the beginning. New Game Plus is way more consistent than New Game, but getting